Part two. Okay, so we got onto the Pyramid of Giza, and that's a subject I think I'd like to have next time round. So let's get back to Antarctica and what went on in Antarctica and the whole beginning of the social engineering for this NWO agenda that's rolling out now. Can't believe that we've all been so, everybody. 2020 was a big wake-up call for a lot of us, wasn't it? And we've all just been asleep up until that point, listening to the music we've been listening to and not realising that we've been being socially engineered. Like I listened to...
Conditioning.
I listened to The Doors, I listened to Led Zeppelin thinking I was cool because I didn't listen to mainstream, and I've just been programmed and conditioned the same as everybody else.
It's manipulation of the media. It's a hard one to believe what happened at World War II. Like, did the Jews get killed or so forth, or was it just one big scare factor? Because having witnessed the manipulation from Iraq and Afghanistan myself, it's a hard one to swallow, thinking, well, if they could do it in this time, in this modern era, how easy was it to manipulate and do back in the days in the 1940s?
Absolutely, and it's such a sensitive subject to bring up with people. Like my stepdad was Jewish, so I invested a lot of interest in World War II and the Jews and what happened there. But one thing that a conclusion I came to a couple of years ago actually was what I'd witnessed over the last 3 years about the mind manipulation and the events that were supposed to be happening, which actually, what was coming out in the truth community, weren't happening. It was all CGI, it was all falsified. I then started to question their whole premises to keep us in fear. How do we know? Because when they started talking about the camps, and these big tents going up in the camps, that sent me into a shockwave of fear. Because, of course, what I'd looked into with my stepdad and the Jews. And I started to think, actually, is that what that was all about? It was programming us. So we're taught it in schools, aren't we? So we've got the images in our heads.
So the Third Reich's main goal, like, people forget that Hitler himself was Jewish.
Yeah, exactly.
And when they say he wanted an Aryan race, he wasn't blonde hair and blue eyes himself. He was brown eyed and black haired.
Yeah.
So he wanted a race of mankind. This is where I think, was it his decision to say all this? Because the Third Reich were massively into a cult. Aleister Crowley was playing both him and Churchill at the same time, which is another thing.
Wow.
Because obviously Crowley was around at the same time. Book number 4 of Crowley, literally, he was giving the information to both Hitler and Churchill from all his information from the book number 4, if you ever read it, Aleister Crowley.
I haven't, no. And was he given that information?
I don't like touching stuff of his because it's...
Well, yeah, he was a dark energy, wasn't he? Yeah. But he did master the occult, the magic of the occult. I've been reading about the Thelemic Art. So it's very hard to get anything on the Thelemic Art or the Thelema, the philosophy of Thelema. So I've got it's a novel, but we know that everything hidden in plain sight. So I am picking up quite a bit about the philosophy of Thelema in it. But when he was he using occult magic to and using energy forces, i.e. mind control via telepathy, shall we say, to Churchill and Hitler? Was he?
No, it was actually communicating physical. He was going for both sides, and obviously we're passing on both sides, knowledge to both sides of the occult magic.
And what's interesting, you would not think Aleister Crowley would be interested in any kind of world war, would you? Because
no. So Aleister Crowley was actually from the Vril Society originally.
The what?
So the Vril Society, the ones who set up the Nazis.
Right. Okay. Oh, okay.
The societies, but they were the two main occults that set up the Nazi regime. Which it all started off in Frankfurt, which is going on to like what you see today with people like orgies, prostitution, drugs. Frankfurt was a centre. Obviously, this was the main goal at the end of the day, even before Antarctica, was Israel. They wanted that land. They needed a place for the Ashkenazi Jews to house them, and that was the main goal. World War II was all created for that main goal, was so they could have that land that they were promised.
And where was that land? Frankfurt.
Israel. No, it started off originally as Frankfurt. That's where the Tully and the Vril Society came from, Frankfurt in Germany.
Wow, you've done some research, Dan. I commend you for that, because I don't go into that level of depth.
All of them will come from there. The Rothschilds, Frankfurt, Donald Trump, Frankfurt.
Donald Trump,
Rockefellers,
Frankfurt. Wow.
Yeah, so Donald Trump is actually German.
Is he?
Originally.
Well, so is the Queen. The Queen is as well, isn't she?
Yeah, the royal family, the Windsors.
Yeah.
The Bilderbergers, the original name.
We can't go too deep. I've already had one video taken down off YouTube with my 150 subscribers. I won't even bother, because I mentioned that, and I didn't even say the word. I just said the letter. So I don't know how far we can go with this. So if we go back to Antarctica and talk about
Operation High Jump. Yeah, so obviously going back into the Antarctica with Operation High Jump, what they were discovering, and obviously people now are still discovering, obviously, even though you're not allowed to go there, is obviously the ancient people still believe that there's civilization more advanced, which they reckon that they were the original Atlanteans, that they went underground after their city got destroyed. They then moved to Antarctica, and these are the ones who obviously housed the Nazis, Germany's at the time. Like I say, what they did, it weren't just what they discovered with the buildings. They were discovering animals, creatures, way beyond that we see today. Different type of life forms. People were talking through telekinesis, instead of talking by mouth. I think Admiral Byrd actually went through the lake itself. Actually, one of the bases was actually in the middle of the lake, thousands of feet underwater. He said he went into a submarine, he dived in, and next thing you know, there was this amazing city that had all different kinds of creatures in the waters. This was an underwater base, not underground, but underwater base that he discovered on one of his expeditions. This is before Operation High Jump. So that's why I think he was chosen to do Operation High Jump, because he's visited Antarctica quite a few times, Admiral Byrd, before World War II as well. So he had quite an understanding of what was happening there. Like I said, Americans still now to this day know what's there, and apparently, I don't know how much of it's true, but there meant to be a treaty signed between these alien beings, if they're Atlanteans or the Nordics, and America, to say, look, you don't come here, we don't come to you. You get on with your life, we'll get on with ours.
That's my limited. That's about as far as I've gone into my research of this treaty, because of course you had the UFOs, weren't you? The UFOs that had been photographed, and so the furthest I've gone into really of Antarctica is the potentiality of what they're hiding there is alien. Well, it is alien technology, but also aliens. So, and again, you've actually just said there. So we know the Nordics can't enter this realm, because this is the prison planet. The underwater city, was that potentially housing the Atlanteans, which is another alien race? Yeah.
It's not an alien race; it's a hybrid race.
Okay.
So they reckon before obviously all this happened, Atlantis is pre-Egypt. So you had Lumina and Atlanteans, and before obviously the Demiurge took control, there was a massive reset Phoenix event which destroyed. Well, Atlanteans apparently destroyed themselves for high-powered technology, because again they got given information from the Nordics of technology. They abused the technology with crystals, because it were crystals that were powering their technology, and obviously it just went big bang. Because I think the Atlanteans actually warned America after the atomic bomb, "You're playing with fire. We did this. Don't do it," kind of thing. And apparently, I don't know how much of this is true, but apparently the civilization in Antarctica are what wiped out every single nuclear weapon system on the planet. There's no nukes exist to this
No.
day.
I'm of the understanding, but I've not done a lot of research, it's just stuff that I've read. But so the Atlanteans were here before the Egyptians, so they were in the, not the Leo age. What was the one before that? What was the age before Leo?
You have to go star signs now. Virgo.
I'm not sure. Right, okay.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure it might be Virgo, the age of Virgo. But yeah, the Lemurians and the Atlanteans were pre-Egyptian, so they were more advanced before the Egyptians. The Demiurge apparently did take control until the age of Leo, and before it became a prison planet. So before that,
so the Atlanteans basically had free reign of.
Yeah.
And did the Atlanteans exist anywhere else other than Antarctica or beyond the ice wall? And I know we're not going to talk about the ice wall because we've already discussed that. We're not going to talk about the ice wall because that's another big subject.
That's another subject.
Yeah, but did the Atlanteans? Because of course, you know, the geography of this plane has obviously has likely changed an awful lot with these Phoenix events and other events. So the Atlanteans, did they roam or were they Antarctica?
So the Atlanteans became what we know today as the Phoenicians.
Okay.
So there was your marine people, or your sea people.
I didn't know about that. I've heard Phoenicians, but I've heard. So you so with Jason's work, Archaeus, I get ever so confused with the Sumerians, the Phoenicians, and all these other different races that have existed. The Anunnaki, the Anunnakis. Just while it's on my mind. So
the Phoenicians originally come from like your Syria area, Cyprus, Greece. So
are they dark skin, dark hair?
From the Phoenicians, the Atlanteans originally.
Say again, sorry.
I said how the Greeks got all the information, same as the Egyptians. They all got it from the Phoenicians, the Atlanteans, because it's all that area: Syria, Iraq, Iran. So that's why the Middle East is at the minute we've got so much, which used to be called the Empire of Persia.
Right.
The Persian Empire was where the Atlanteans went to after Atlantis got destroyed.
And they're your dark-haired, dark-eyed, small race, aren't they?
Which one?
The Phoenicians.
No. They are your blonde-haired, blue eyes, and what we would call now today as Vikings.
Okay. Okay. Right.
So the Phoenician ships are your red and white striped ships.
Right.
With the sails. So what we would call the modern day Vikings.
Okay. So, right. So I've got that bit. So the Phoenicians, the Atlanteans were one of the same, just at different eras.
Yeah.
So I was of the understanding, and I know we're going off on a bit of a tangent here, but I was of the understanding that the blue were the Anunnas, very pale skin, tall, blue eyes, blonde hair. They're your Anunnas or your Anunnakis, and they're the ones that created us.
So it's all change of characters' names. That's all they've done. It's the same people. It's again your Nordics. If you look at them, again, what you see, like you said to me the other day about True Blood, Eric from True Blood.
Yeah.
Tall, blonde-haired, blue eyes.
Yeah.
Rhesus. It's the same. Your blood types: Rhesus negative, or your hybrid alien people.
Right. Okay. Okay. So basically, the Anunnas, the Anunnakis, the Phoenicians, the Atlanteans, they're all one of the same race. Just
just changing names.
So
Every reset, they'll give them a different name.
So you touched on, and I can't remember exactly what you said, but you touched on the hybrid. So
Yeah.
in Atlantia, sorry, Antarctica, under this this water city, or in this water city rather, you've got hybrids. We are equally considered hybrids, aren't we? Because we've been genetically modified, and we're going through that again, aren't we? At this, yeah,
evolution,
yeah. So who genetically modified us? The Phoenicians, the Anunnakis, the Anunnakis, because they're all one of the same things. And did that happen in Antarctica?
So this is you've got different, again, like I said, when I've gathered from my research, your original Nordic hybrids are your rhesus negative. Hence why people from this planet can't, or as a woman, you can't have, if you're a different blood type, a rhesus negative baby. You will either kill the baby or the baby will kill you, kind of thing, because your blood does not match. It's like a foreign body inside of a human body.
So
hence why people have to have the injections. They call it the royal or the golden bloodline. The
I've
rhesus
heard
negative.
that phrase, and the rhesus negative, because you're jogging a memory. I have heard that before, but I understood it to be the reptilians. The rhesus negative is your elite bloodline, your 13 bloodlines. Am I correct in thinking that?
The 13 bloodlines of the Illuminati.
Yeah. We have gone on another tangent there, haven't we? But it's also interesting. But it all ties in. Exactly.
It's still the same people that obviously they're more purebred to what we see today in our reality at the minute. We don't see that civilization in Antarctica. They don't see us. Obviously, we're lesser beings to them and lesser intelligent, but at the same time, they know what we're doing, where we don't. Well, we are kind of have an idea what they're doing. That's the government. It's down to treaties. We leave them alone, they leave us alone, but they will interfere if it becomes the destruction of the earth, kind of thing, because they still like to have their control over the whole system.
Right, okay. And they're being influenced by the Nordic aliens.
Yeah. Yes.
So the Phoenician,
yeah.
So the Phoenician race or the Anunnaki, they still exist.
Yeah.
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 But they live in. But they live in
underground. Yeah, well, they live even among us, but people won't even notice. Like, people will see that these people who are 7 foot, 8 foot tall, blonde hair, blue eyes, walking amongst us. Like I said, you can even look at Donald Trump. He's a tall guy, blonde hair, blue eyes. His son, 6'8".
Yeah.
One of the highest IQs, very intelligent. So they still walk among us, but they're the ones who are not living. The Antarctica ones have got a completely different life, apparently, from what Admiral Byrd said in his notes and his diaries. Is their world is a different world to ours, even though it's the same.
Let's get back onto that then, because I could just go off on so many tangents. so Admiral Byrd, what he discovered whilst he was in Antarctica.
Yeah, so I say he discovered there were creatures, there were lakes, the air was a lot cleaner, and this was all underground. Like I said, they call it, is it the Hagatha? I can't remember how they pronounce it. The Hollow Earth. There's a hole that goes into the lake, and that's where all these ships disappear into, which I think Tom calls it. I can't remember what he calls it now. Is it merging?
I've not got that far with his work. I'm still on demiurgic technology with Tom's work, just trying to solve all that.
They've got the technology to move timelines slightly so you can't see, so it's like a camouflage.
Right. Wow.
So it's literally one slight. So where we see a solid object, it's how these aliens, when they say abductions and people see them walking through walls and people getting pulled through the ceiling, is they can move timelines very slightly so that building doesn't exist. So
And do you think that's what the Mandela effect is?
That's at a bigger scale.
Right, let's not go there then for this one. Let's leave that for another one. So
That's
go
a
back.
big timeline done.
Wow.
It's the same with cloning technology. So when people say they see these spaceships and all of a sudden they vanish, it's all they're doing is they're moving timelines ever so slightly, so you don't see them. They vanish from
Yeah,
your
yeah, yeah.
timeline.
Yeah. Wow, that
Um,
makes perfect sense. Right, so
and so
going back.
like
Sorry, go on.
so like if the base was built so many years ago, they moved that so that entrance, they'll just move that timeline so it's invisible to the naked eye to this timeline. And that's how, I can't remember how they call it. It's something like merging or something like that. Timeline merging. And that's how they hide like buildings and entrances and stuff like that. That's why ships have been shown flowing into mountains and all of a sudden they vanished
Is that
because
what,
they
do you
literally
reckon
can.
that's what the Bermuda Triangle?
Oh yeah,
That,
100%.
yeah.
That's why ships turn up so many years afterwards.
Mm. Carry on. I'm just
That's it.
finding this
Yeah,
absolutely.
so now you talk about the Bermuda Triangle, so that's another example. So they found recently an old Nazi battleship on the Antarctica ice, and you can see even on Google Earth
Oh well,
pictures
really?
from World War II, which is just literally just stuck there. And that's again just showing that timelines have shifted slightly. So where it wasn't ice, now it's stuck in ice. But everyone who's on the ship is obviously not there anymore.
Going to take one hell of an open mind whoever watches this video, isn't it? Brilliant. Brilliant. So so going back to Admiral Byrd and what he discovered, and I'd like to touch on like how it affects. We can move into like the Great Reset of what's going on now and the Phoenix event and how. So if you know anything about that, which I'm sure you will, how it's all tying in with everything that we're learning now and the cataclysms and oh, my head is filled with so much information, and the reason why I don't go into so much depth as what you've gone into with certain subjects is because I've got such a short attention span. You want to see the top of my computer screen, all the tabs I've got open. I don't always finish watching videos. That's why my videos are 10 minutes long, because I don't think I could, but off on tangent. So going back to Admiral Byrd and the significance of Antarctica and how it plays into what we're living out now and the Great Reset, because we know the Great Reset is more than just 2030. And also we can talk about the transhumanism agenda as well, because again, that's evolution. They're creating a new hybrid of human, aren't they?
Well, they're trying to push us back further into the prison.
Yeah.
Obviously, they're realizing that we've tried to escape from this prison planet quite a few times. I know we're going off a bit of tangent here, but
just who's we that's tried to escape? Who is the we that's tried to escape? Because it's not
everything that's came here. So we all got tricked and manipulated at the beginning. We came here to learn experience, to learn five senses, how to love, touch, taste, feel the wind on our skin. Because we're just energy. We wanted to feel how it feels to be physical, motion and stuff like that. So we came here and I promised to learn. The difference is when we came here, we ended up getting trapped and then stuck in this reincarnation cycle.
The demiurge. The demiurge did that, didn't it?
Yeah,
what
so
creates the demiurge?
complete this life. Sophia.
Sophia the goddess.
Goddess, yeah. So Sophia wanted to create her own child.
Her own what, sorry?
Her own child, her own species, which was an abomination to the universe. Because she didn't want to take control. She was told to control this school or plant this simulation. She didn't want to control it, so she put the demiurge in place. But the demiurge, because it was an abomination and it's artificial intelligence, it has its own mind and its own plan. It wants to perfect everything. So if you tell a computer, I want to have the perfect scenario, it will give you the perfect scenario, regardless of what you think is. It doesn't work off empathy or emotions. It will try and perfect the perfect school, if you will. If this is what it is, it's a school. So this is why we're stuck in the reincarnation, because it believes that we're not ready until it's created the perfect. You've completed everything perfect. Hence why when you get to the stage where your soul leaves, you judge yourself. You make that decision where you judge yourself.
So was it Sophie that created this simulation?
She created this school, yeah, the simulation.
Right. Okay. You're filling in a lot of gaps in my education as things that I've touched on. So right. Okay. So Sophia the demiurge. So we've gone and the creation of this simulation. So you do believe that we are in a soul trap?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Exactly the same what the Gnostics believe, that we came here to learn as a school, to progress. We had these promises. We came here, not just us, but obviously other species of aliens as well, all came here and we all got trapped together within this demiurge programming, which is what you like call a virus, or it believes it's an upgrade, but obviously it's a corruptive file, which is it's not letting anyone go, and it wants us further. And obviously you've got your sentinels, which is your elite, the people it's put in charge to take control of this situation. They don't want people again to leave, because it's all to do with harvesting. There's negative energies here as well as positive energies, and these negative energies of what help the demiurge corrupt the whole system. They're the what feeding off this energy of us as well as the other species that are trapped here.
But there must be a benefactor.
Yeah.
There must be a benefactor, otherwise we'd be more enslaved than what we are. They're looking to enslave us even further, aren't they now? I mean, Yuval Harari came out with a statement of humans no longer have free will. And when I first heard that, I believed that to be our bodies have no, but what I now understand it to be is that our souls no longer have free will.
Have free will, yeah.
Yeah, with this whole transhuman agenda. Because
So
that will ultimately trap the soul.
Yeah. So they want to put us further into matter.
Yeah.
And further away from spirit.
Yeah.
So by doing transhumanism, we'll then start losing our empathy.
Yeah.
And literally just become zombies. Just a program.
We can see with some people, we can see that developing.
Yeah.
You know, like
that's again NPCs. Not everyone here is got a soul or the same species. There are NPCs here, programs that are just there to who are there to sign the contract with you to say, look, we're here to help you learn this growth, and this growth. But like I say, it's just that reincarnation cycle. We've been stuck in it for so long, and just because it's a prison doesn't mean new souls can't come in. This is where the awakening.
They want new souls, aren't to feed on.
Yeah, but this is where the awakening, where you said, is there a benevolence or is there a greater force?
Yeah,
they are now forcing more souls in. They call it the 3 waves of volunteers. I think the first wave was actually in 1947. They actually failed. The second wave was in 1960s, and then the last wave was in 2012. So these people have volunteered to try and pull the rest of us out of this trap.
Okay. Let's get back to, with this can be another conversation, because I've got so many questions that are just going to take us on even deeper down deeper rabbit holes and more of a tangent. Let's get back to Antarctica, because I think I want to use Antarctica as like a base now that I've got a better understanding of the Phoenicians and them being there. I guess if we get, it might be a good basis for my level of understanding with Antarctica and how Antarctica was the beginning of the social engineering for this whole transhuman agenda. And then the next chat that we have, which I'm hoping you'll come on and have another chat with me, we can talk about, you know, the soul trapping and stuff, because I'm in conflict with the soul trapping, because again, like everything, there's different points of view out there about the soul trap. and I've done my own little versions of my opinions on my channel. But
Yeah.
let's get back to Antarctica and how this all started, really. Not like this realm started, but this agenda. That's basically where this agenda started, isn't it?
Yeah, yeah. So what other things that Admiral Byrd apparently claimed to see? Obviously, he realised there was not just a sun on the surface. There's also an inner sun. So we have a secondary sun, which is what the Nazis called the Black Sun.
Okay, I won't go off on a tangent, but go on.
So his theory was that both poles of the Earth are actually a convex rather than a concave. So this means that the boats, and obviously like the Bermuda Triangle is another convex, an opening portal which you can fly or float right in. This was all in his writings, what he did, and it's all again with General Byrd. Obviously, he again died a mysterious death, found dead in an empty warehouse. Again, mysterious death. But the thing, like I say, the things that he actually seen is very like you've seen Black Panther, haven't you?
No, I've seen the
Like
picture.
Wakanda. Oh no! So the movie Black Panther with Wakanda, it's exactly the same what he was describing about Antarctica. That there were floating cars, but again, this was all in a subterranean level. Like once they got through the water, it was like a complete different world again. Like a second sun. There was people breathing in oxygen. There were plants growing. It was like a rainforest with different animals.
So what it
and he would
sounds like is that with that city underwater with the floating cars and the advanced technology, that they're trying to bring that up into this realm.
Yeah, the age of technology. That's their main goal, is the age of technology.
Which is the age of Aquarius.
Yeah. But then you've got the benevolent side who call it the golden age. So you've got two different fractions, like I say, two different timelines, which are going to start parting off. People are going to be stuck in the age of technology who want that kind of vibration, which is very low, because electricity technology is a very low vibration from the spirit. And then you're going to get the people who are going into the golden age, who are going to raise the vibration and going back into the energy, obviously starting to move off this realm of.
That'll explain why the age of Aquarius is the age of freedom and the age of technology. It's technology, again, you've got the duality, haven't you?
Yeah.
The dark and the light. So that would on that would suggest to me that we those of us that are moving up, you know, going, and I hate all the terminology like higher vibration and everything, because it's just been parroted out willy-nilly by, but those of us that do choose that path, the golden age path, if you like, that would suggest that we've got free will still. And so that would suggest that this isn't the trap that we think it is.
It's changing. So like I said to you, there's outside influences changing the trap. The programming is completely being rewrote. They're giving people again the option again to free will. They can choose to stay into this reality where they're still controlled by the demiurge, going into the age of technology because they don't want to leave. They're very stuck into the materialism. Or you've got the option now where if you don't want to stay here, you want to leave, then you're moving up into the next stage of evolution, your next reality kind of thing. That's the way I've looked at it.
And that's what's discussed in the group that we're in, where we will no longer see
so you've got your two timelines, your Fibonacci timeline and your crystal timeline. It's going to separate. New Age people talk about the new Earths. It's exactly the same thing, but just different terminology.
So just touching on the New Age thing there. Of course, I was of the understanding, and and from the research that I've done, but again, you know, I may have been led down a falsehood. The New Age movement is a design of the UN in order to keep people trapped in this, in the Fibonacci code, if you like. So people think that they're practicing New Age spirituality, where in actual fact they're not practicing spirituality at all. They're still in that prison.
It's just because they're feeding the ego. So the New Age, everything about the New Age is a lot of money making, which is again to do with the ego, materialism. They teach wrong about manifestation. So manifestation, you should never manifest for yourself.
Yeah.
Because that is ego. If you're trying to manifest money and a better life, it's because you're feeding your ego, your shadow self.
And that's
which is what
they
the New
teach us
Age
to manifest, isn't it? Always teach us to manifest wealth.
Yeah. However, if you manifest for others, you get back more in abundance. So it's just like helping. Like a physical example of that is a person going over and giving someone a £5 who's homelessness. Right? It's done and dusted. There you go. But then once you start taking pictures and posting on social media saying, look how good I am,
yeah,
you're feeding that ego. No matter how it was a nice gesture, you're feeding that shadow self that you need to feel good, better about yourself and not what the person felt.
and that's the
And
satanic society that they've indoctrinated us into. I mean, you tell people we live in a satanic world. I'm not a Satanist because everyone's got this depiction of a Satanist being red cloaked and horns and all, you know, where in actual fact it's me, I, and feeding the self and feeding the ego. That is a Satanist, and we're all guilty of it.
Some, like I say, miracles happen every day. People don't realize that, and it's all to do with manifestations. So when someone's ill, someone's praying for the other person to get better, that goes sent out to the universe, that manifestation, then it comes back quicker. The more people that do it, the quicker the boomerang comes back, that energy. And obviously you don't get any payback. If you want to manifest for yourself and you want that boomerang, that energy to come back quicker, what people do then is the blood manifestation, because your blood carries 4 esoteric metals, which
Just bear me a
enhances
second.
it.
We've got 20 seconds left. Do you want to come back in and talk about the metals? Yeah, nice one. I'm loving this, Dan. Thank you for your time.
No worries.
See you in a minute.